the two major Oregon trade associations announced yesterday that they'd be merging in an effort to unify messaging and improve respectability. Is this the beginning of a nationwide trend? Let's dig in. So, 2023 has been one of the most eventful years ever in cannabis business news. Ironically, cannabis trade associations, most of which specifically formed to prepare operators for moments like this, have been disappearing state to state, leaving few legacy options for folks looking for networking opportunities and coalitions rallying around common ideologies. Back in June, cannabis industry's largest trade organization, the National Cannabis Industry Association, or NCIA, announced that they'd be laying off half of their staff, with CEO Aaron Smith laying blame on market saturation, high taxes, and low investor interest behind NCIA's historically low membership numbers. So maybe if these organizations did a better job of looking to find common ground, rather than attacking each other and endlessly competing for the same membership dollars, they'd have a fighting chance. Well, that's exactly what the Oregon Cannabis Association, OCA, and Cannabis Industry Alliance of Oregon, CIAOs, are looking to do. Now, with both org boards yesterday announcing that they voted unanimously to merge. Per the article, the merger is effective immediately, and the new entity, which is currently unnamed, will continue to be member driven, and current memberships will automatically be transferred. In a press release, leadership of the new nameless organization said that the merger will create a unified voice for the industry, allowing Oregon operators to embark on a journey that strengthens the ability to advocate for a thriving, safe, respected legal cannabis industry, championing changes the industry deserves, from modernized regulations to social equity and a stable licensure system. Many have been calling for consolidation of major organizations as the industry has matured and more and more states continue to legalize. Um, and I think we're going to see more of this. The problem I think a lot of people have when we see this consolidation is special interests. This new Oregon organization is saying that they're going to be championing social equity. It's something that we saw also with the was it the USAA? Is that what it's called, Jason? The big the cannabis org with all the MSOs. They said the same thing early on, but we saw
USMC.
a lot of yeah, USMC. They said the same thing early on, but we saw a lot of people of color and organizations of color withdraw their memberships because they thought that they were not being adequately represented. So my question is, are we going to see more and more of this? Is this what the industry needs? Or are we going to see over the next year or two just industry organizations going away altogether? I'm interested in sparking this debate and hearing what everybody else has to say on this. I'm Rico Lamite, the dopest dad on the street. What do you think, Jason?
Man, I think this is great for Oregon. I mean, the reality is that Oregon has a lot of issues. They have a major oversupply, and this is
Yeah.
one way that they can all speak with one unified voice. So I think this is a smart decision on the part of these two different trade organizations to combine their resources and move in one solid movement. I'm all for this. I think this is great.
What happens when you have people that are left out of the conversation? Just like I was saying before, like
People get left
you
out of
got a lot of
conversations every day, Rico.
yeah, but the people who arguably deserve the most attention
That's
get
why they
left out of these
say,
conversations
but
and never
that's
followed.
why they say the squeaky wheel gets the grease, Rico, because usually that is the loudest person in the room.
It's not really what happened with the United Cannabis Industry, whatever the org they used.
USMCA.
It was Stephen Hawkins, yeah, USMCA. That's not what happened there. The squeakiest wheel really didn't get any love at all,
Well, with the,
and they had no representation. Our very own Gretchen Gailey was in a room with them and a bunch of lawmakers, and nobody even brought up social equity.
well, at the same time too. So trade organizations operate at the will of their members, and so obviously what that tells you is that their members don't care about social equity if it wasn't something that was brought up. It's not the organization; it's the members.
No, but they did, and that was what sparked a major membership exodus from people of color and organizations of color from that group. The fact that they weren't being represented, and the fact that their cries to be represented
And where
and
are they
to
now?
talk about the war on drugs were being ignored.
And where are they now?
no longer part of that organization.
And
They
so what
was they
organization are
withdrew.
they part of?
They're still part of their individual organizations, but they withdrew from this quote unquote coalition that said that they were going to have their back.
Well,
Specifically stated that they were going to be representing the
I
quote
I
unquote like
I don't
less
understand
prominent
your
voices.
question, because if they're still part of an organization, their voices are still being heard on
They're
on
part
on
of their
some
own
level. They're just not part
individual
of that
one.
one organization, so I don't understand what you're getting at.
They're not part of the larger, more quote unquote
I
powerful
I don't
voice
I
anymore
don't
because they
well,
weren't being served.
but I don't but that you're missing my point is that they're still part of a trade
What I'm
organization, so
saying
they're
is,
still
like
their
we talk
voice is
about,
still being heard. That's not how it works. How you're thinking.
they're not being heard on a grand level. What I'm saying is
I
when
don't
you
think
have black
anybody's
and
being
brown
heard on a
people,
grand level. We're
like
still trying to get
hold
safer
on, black
banking
and
pass, and
brown
we can't
people,
still haven't got
black and brown
descheduling
people
anywhere.
in the industry, and then also special interests like prison reform and that are taking the back seat to
Until
safe
the
banking
cannabis
that is
industry starts
never
coughing up real
ever
money for
going to get
government
passed.
affairs, none of this is going to change.
So we're gonna keep on talking about safe banking going forward, and then when
Yep.
certain voices say safe banking, as it is written, as it is being argued right now, doesn't really represent their points of view, doesn't really represent their communities.
You're never
They
going to
just
make
don't get
everybody happy,
represented.
bro, and you can't make the bad the enemy of the good.
It's not about making everybody happy. It's about talking. It's about talking about these things with the communities that were most hurt by prohibition, and now their interests are just totally being ignored. What happens
I don't
then?
know if I'm
Can I
buying
can
I don't
I
know if I'm
can
buying
I
that.
can I say can I say something real quick before we
Please
go
Yeah.
to
go
the
for
next
it,
one real
Tony.
quick?
You don't have prison reform. You don't
Um
have people. You don't have people being. You don't have any of these interests being served. You just get a bunch of bullshit. Generic organizations talking about safe banking. You have a bunch of generic organizations talking about, oh yeah, we are a unified voice, but you know what? Black people, brown people, they get left out. Former prisoners, they get left out.
um as far as the safe banking is concerned, the they don't really care about safe banking, and prisoners are going to get left out, and black and brown people are going to get left out. When you go to these communities that are what they call diverse, or whatever you want to say, or whatever, you don't really see banks. You see check cashing places, because they realize that these individuals are not putting their money in savings or have the ability to have money that constantly comes in. They're basically getting
Yeah,
a check from somewhere from time to time, and then they can go into a place and then liquidate that check there to get cash money. So
for a
the
high
this is
fee.
just
For
yeah, this to
yeah,
me,
for a
this is just a great way to keep us distracted. The people who are worried
yeah,
about safe banking are the people who really do bank. The people who are selling millions of dollars, or at least six figures, there are hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of product, and they want to be able to put their money safely inside of a location. That's not the great deal of majority of the everyday citizens. To be quite frank with you guys, this is how I feel. No one wants to legalize anything because it's too much money in locking people up over it, and it's too much money in controlling it and taxing it. So it's gonna always be that fine line of what we want to do or whatever. But I'm 41 years of age, and they've been talking about legalizing cannabis since before I was born. Like, there's always
right.
been a cry for them to to legalize cannabis before I was born. We've seen a lot of things that's changed a great deal within the whole cannabis community, but they've created Delta 8s. They've created bullshit garbage and allows you to put this, or would allow you to put this in your body instead of even a plant that, or a flower that they really know naturally comes out of that earth. They would rather you play
Right.
with poison. It's a game to me. I honestly feel like it's a game. They don't care about anything at all,
Okay.
period. And it's not about black or brown. It's about the big people trying to get the money, and them trying to trick you to make you think some way or somehow you would be included in it.
So you're saying it's more based off
You-
classism as opposed to racism.
There is no such thing as racism. There's classism. Now, of course, there's racism. Wait,
Is
wait,
there
wait,
such thing
wait.
as
Of
racism?
course,
Like at
of
all?
course, there's racism. Yeah, but of course, there's racism on a more structured scale. Meaning, I can't be a racist as an
Interesting.
individual. I don't have the economic and social capability to keep a specific group of people targeted and down from prospering. I don't have that ability, unfortunately. But the great deal of majority of us can be bigoted and prejudiced. You understand? So, and I don't, yeah, and
You
that's what I
you and I
believe.
you and I yeah, you and I agree, like, on
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
what I believe. I
100%.
believe that in order to
Love
be
that.
racist, you have to have the financial, you have to have the economical and the social capability to target a specific group and keep that specific group from flourishing. And that's more of a systematic issue than it is on a personal level. On a personal level,
Yeah.
we look at each other and we judge each other. We judge each other based on the contingency of how different we are, or how different we look, or talk, or and that right there is bigoted and is prejudice. So.
Yeah, you can have racist ideologies, but, yeah, if to be quote unquote racist, I agree, it's institutionalized. Um, that's where we see actual racism, and we see bigotry more on an individual level. We actually do agree on that.
Mhm.
What are
Look
your
at
thoughts
that.
on this, Stone? Are we gonna see more special interests left behind with more of this, consolidation of organizations?
We'll definitely see more interest left behind. It's not. I mean, I'm learning from you guys on this one. I'm enjoying listening to,
Yeah.
when you guys aren't just like butting
Oh,
heads.
I
I'm
see that
enjoying
neutral
listening
position
and
right
learning
there,
here.
Stone. That neutral,
What'd you
I
say?
see that neutral position right there. Yeah, we're just
Neutral position.
rolling in neutral.
I think everybody should be included in my joint. I'm rolling here, but I'm gonna
Mhm.
continue to listen on this one. I'm
All
not
right.
jumping in this
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I mean, that's basically the stance that the organizations are beginning to take, like more bland messaging, that nobody really like loves, but like, oh, you're conceding this, you're conceding that. But what I'm seeing on a national level is less talk about like issues that the industry was built upon, and more issues that are aligning with major institutions, like Tony was saying. We're seeing more alignment with big banks, more alignment with the interests of Congress, and what they're saying is important, and less about what the communities even care about.
And on that, we're going to go to a commercial. We're going to be right back.